Alright everyone, welcome back and still a happy new year for everyone. So I hope you had a great time since our last video in December, and I hope you're as hyped as me about PREMODERN still. And today we want to try a mono red goblin deck with a twist, and the twist is 2 of Ruby Medallion, 2 mana artifact, making every red spell you cast cheaper. So this is basically Goblin Warchief number 5 and 6, as you're not having any other spells in the main deck costing colorless mana besides goblins. And it's hard to determine who had the idea first, so I won't name any author here. There are various lists with Ruby Medallion, which 5-0'd in the contraption PREMODERN leagues. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to try it out. It looks a bit more aggressive, even with a 2 of Lightning Bolt. But let's see, there's a reason why this deck plays 3 Naturalized main, because it struggles with a lot of cards. But I am here to try the aggressive approach. On top of that, we just have 4 Wastelands beside 19 mountains, and I'm not sure if this is correct. Like in the red-green list, I prefer the Rishaden Port over the Wasteland by a lot. And this is the reason I split it up, the mountain piles, so the 4 basic mountains from my favorite set act as proxies and mine for Rishaden Port. So every time we draw these, we want to clarify and analyze, would this been better if this would have been a port now? Alright, Sideboard is super stock, so let's dive in. Alright, we found our first game pretty fast, so let's see if we can get a keepable hand. This is not amazing, but I'm tempted to keep it. Like double Wasteland is fine in many cases. The downside of this hand is that it gets catched by turn 1 Duress, and yeah, the Goblin decks are pretty safe against Duress otherwise. So I will just lead here and yeah, swamp into Duress. One of the most common plays on Magic Online, but not for me right now. Okay, so let's follow up with a mountain here, play Ruby Medallion. And I'm pretty happy I could resolve this. So if here's some Psychotalk, he might have a foil for this. Or Naturalize. Okay, Reanimator. Reanimator is a tough one. Double Swamp is a bit odd and probably means it's a brew here. Okay, Unmasking Me. It's an odd sequence to play the Imp first and then unmask. But going for the Matron here is strong. I'm tempted to just cycle this into the empty and see if I can find a 2-drop. Goblin. Alright, Mogg Fanatic. I feel like I want to set a stop and upkeep here and see if he discards something in the end step. Let's see. He's not forced to discard in the end step. He can just do it in response here, but I want to do it before his draw phase. Like, if he just have nothing, that the Mogg Fanatic can get his discard outlet. But what did he pitch to the unmask? Sickening Dreams. So for me, it looks like an odd draw by a Reanimator player, or just a brew with Mono Black Reanimator. Me and my friend thought a lot about it, if it's viable to just build a Reanimator deck with 4 Flagvatus Champion as a card you can cast. I'm in here for playing this into something like Sickening Dreams, and as we have the clarity that he pitched one earlier, I think it's can be that he has another one, but he needs to discard then. And otherwise, having at least 5 power on the board is sweet here, plus having the ability to cycle the Incinerator. together with some Goblins thrown. Okay, Verdant Force, but no reanimation target here. So sweet list, but it's mono black. Like, I never saw this with 5 swamps. Good thing is that we still can somehow... I think I don't want to play the Incinerator. I mean, is it changing the clock? Like, we can attack for 7, 8, 9. Yeah, then it's lethal next turn. So, this just cost 1. So it's probably right to play it, as we have the abilities to throw goblins anyway. So this would have mean that with our assumption before our match here, this would have been port number 1 and port number 2. So we would not be able to win this if these were ports. But on the other hand, I trimmed down to 1 Wasteland in my red-green goblin deck. So we got 3 of Tormod's Crypt, and I think this is it, more or less. I don't think I can justify playing Bold, and even the Incinerator is a stretch, but besides that, we should be very fine. Yeah. So Ruby Medallion was fine there. For sure, otherwise I think we would have been too slow to get ahead of the game, so this hand is not great. So let's take a mulligan, especially Wasteland is bad. This is awkward, because if he leads to something like Duress, this is not strong enough. This is fine, so we need to ship the 5-drop here and probably the Mogg Fanatic. Because he can discard to the imp anyway, if he has something. Okay, this is a Rishan port, but we had a certain mana source. No, we hadn't. Okay. So again, I'm happy that this is a mountain and not a port. I know 19 mountains seems to be a lot, but it seems to be fine. So the deck is so greedy that it can just afford to make 5 to 6 land drops. Okay, this is enough for me to pop it. If the player is on Exhume, he can play Exhume. And if we pop the Crypt, in response he can just discard another creature. So this is a bit awkward. Down on 2 cards here, but we need something. Ruby Medallion would be a start, sure. Sharpshooter, okay. We are a bit heavy on 3-drops. So what will happen is that we will make an empty cycle again on the Incinerator. Verdant Force, okay. We got the answer with the Sharpshooter, which is nice. Reanimate, okay. If we would have had Exhume, we could just cycle this in response and find our own, or reanimate our own creature. Would be better to have this than not having it 2-1, because this means at least 7 life points as a blocker here. Please give me a land. Okay, I feel forced to... So if we go for Ruby Medallion, next turn we can go for Warchief and Sharpshooter. Is it enough? I don't know. So Carber Therapy would hit me really hard. So if I play the Warchief, I can play Sharpshooter but not Ringleader. It feels a bit right to go for the Ruby Medallion here. It's so important to have this with haste, I guess. And I hope he's just stranded with his mana. And I'm in for another mana source, I guess. A Piledriver. Okay, let's bring this down. Okay, he's on F6. So Sharpshooter here. Then let's gun everything down. I can afford one more hit by the Verdant Force, probably. Okay, it's odd if I should attack or not. I'm not completely sure. Because if he has something like Acroma in the of Ross, we are forced to block with a Sharpshooter. So if we untap again here, he could have Sickening Dreams, but I'm in for that. So Sickening Dreams is a blowout anyway. Okay, this might be enough for us to win. As everything is cost reduced by 2. Let's start with the Ringleader. Fanatic, Matron, Lackey. So if I go by the Piledriver and attack with everything, this should be enough. And as he is on yield here, I think it's fine to do it like this. Okay, this worked pretty well. So we're on the draw here, and it seems pretty weak. So I think we take a mulligan. This is not better. Mulligan 5 really hurts. Here I think I will ship. Like, we need the card advantage somehow. But Siege King Commander is expensive. I think it's probably right to do it like this. So we have the ability to recover from a card advantage style with a Goblin Matron. And we have a 2-drop. This should have been a port, and I'm again happy that it's not a port. But if you consider the same example like Wasteland or port, I don't know. I think I would prefer port these days in most cases. So here I think it's fine to activate Wasteland. Drawing the Lackey here is making our play slightly better, and as he's not floating mana, this should be safe, but the deck he plays is probably Replenish. So, here I attack. We might see a Stifle on the Lackey trigger. Okay. It feels good, but Replenish is so dangerous, so I would be in to have the Lackey, the Piledriver around. And then if he's not able to stabilize here in some way, if he's just slamming Attunement, he might be in trouble. Okay, Sharpshooter. So I think we are in danger here. We didn't find a haste goblin. So let's bring this down. I mean, maybe we won here. 2 life. Okay, yeah. We don't have to show him more. I miscounted here. So let's throw Goblin. Alright, this was pretty aggressive, and this was a mulligan 5. It should be Replenish. So let's trim down on Ruby Medallions and the Sharpshooter for sure. Even the Incinerators are not great, and if we adjust our game plan this much, we enter territory where the Ringleader is not great anymore. Yeah, even the Crypt is not great, but let's try it like this. Like Replenish is a super tough matchup. And cards like Tormod Crypt tend to give you a fake security feeling. Like, okay, he can't replenish, but then he just slams it. Turn 2 enchantment or turn 3 and turn 4. And you lose like this. But I think it's necessary to do it. Right. Let's check if he has something like Source to Plowshares. So this is a keep. Again, if he's not interacting well with our cards, we add so much pressure to the board quick that, yeah, it's fine. He might have Hydroblast and Blue Elemental Blast. But as we saw the fetch here, it probably means he has found a sword. And this changed the whole mass. Like, I'm planning to... Okay, on island. Then it's a Red Blast. Kind of sad. Like, maybe I should have waited with a Pyroblast backup, but... So I think... Okay, this was an odd keep, I would say. Like, what are you keeping there if you're on 7? Or was it a mulligan 6? I guess it was mulligan 6, but like without lands it's tough. So I think at this point I almost blast every spell I can. Like the Blue Blast is just for the build-up spells anyway. Like Frantic Surge, Attunement, or Afterboarding, Pyroblast, and Blue Elemental Blast. Three-drop would be fine. Warchief would be amazing. Okay, this would have been a port which would be broken in this spot. So here I would be way happier if this would have been a Rishaden port. And I think for these cases it's interesting to split your basic style, otherwise I tend to play all the same basic art. Alright. Alright everyone, we are on the draw, on the play. With an odd hand, but I think it's keepable. Like, if it's creature based, we should be fine. But yeah, the reason is I want to test the bolts, and I could see some decks where the keep is sweet. And I think it's fine enough to not to mulligan. Sure, you love the keeps with the Goblin Lackey, which goes unchecked, but... So this might be enough for me to bolt, because I don't want him to build up something. This must be answered anyway, and I don't want to build up into something like where he can slam Gale's Cradle. So if this is Elves, the next turn Goblin Sharpshooter might be enough to get a concession immediately. And this is exactly what it's in for. Alright, let's play the Sharpshooter and don't attack. So I don't think he's allowed to pay the Echo there. Maybe if he has a Symbiote, but I don't know. He needs the Elf, which can shock with a kicker cost immediately, or some build up into Musticore. And together with the Gempalm, this is a Tanglewire probably. Yeah, I don't think if Tanglewire is enough. So I think it's fine to say like tap these 4 and just bait him a bit into, okay, this is sweet. Yeah, I prefer slamming the Lackey. Yeah, it's still baiting him into adding a creature to the board, which I can... Okay, it's enough seen. So now it's getting unfair. 4 of Pyrokinesis, and there's even an argument for playing Crypts. I don't know the exact number, but if it gets pretty grindy, it's tough to answer. I don't think we have time for the medallion, sadly. And I think I probably want to cut back on incinerators rather than the bolts. We probably will face a very grindy game now. And I think it's right to cut back on Ruby Medallions, especially if you bring in 4 Pyrokinesis, because you need the red pitches. Yeah, it's fine. Again, if the mountains would have been Rishaden ports, this would not be a keep, probably. I don't know, maybe. So it's probably right to just answer this, as it's a game about speed in the first phase. Otherwise, imagine if you are on the play and you... Yeah, it was correctly. And you lead on Lackey. So if he has no 2 toughness creature, the Lackeys crash in for sure. Try to exchange with some Finton elves and other elves, and for sure he's forced to block. Otherwise, he's in danger that we throw something in like Siege Gang Commander. Okay, Mogg Fanatic is a sweet one. So at least we get rid of the Finton elf. He might have something like Caller of the Claw, but we will see this before we attack. So, okay, okay, good game. Alright everyone, we are on the play with an unkeepable hand, colorless mana, not enough mana. This is awkward for sure, but maybe enough to keep. Like, let's ship this. Keep in mind, this could have been a Rishaden port, which would make this draw probably better if my opponent is not on Wasteland. Like, maybe sometimes you will draw wrong conclusions from the game. Like here we bolt. Otherwise, in this slot is a naturalize. He would get the naturalize. Okay, Incinerator. I think I will cycle this in the end step to get a higher impact goblin. Alright, with blue, especially the ports, double port would have been great. I did some games with the deck now, and I think I'm sold on exchanging the Wastelands at least for Rishaden ports. Buck. So we'll probably see something like Pernicious Deed, which will be tough. And drawing too many lands from the top is not great here. I will slam the Piledriver. It's saved from a mana leak, and if he plays a counter spell on this, he can't Fact or Fiction. Otherwise, I don't want to throw away the Siege Gang Commander here. Yeah, the deed is a tough one. Alright, too much mountain. Let's go to combat. I don't think we can wait longer with the siege gang. Problem is we need to get rid of the deed anyway. And I think if he has a counter spell, he would even be comfortable enough to counter this. Because 1 damage a turn is not much. And if he has a counter here, we can just go to game 2. Like, if this resolves, at least he's spending his whole turn on getting rid of it. Otherwise, he will take 6 damage. So, this is for sure a matchup for 5 blasts. Ruby Medallion is awkward in the face of Pernicious Deed. And now we are for sure lacking the green cards like Call of the Claw. I think Incinerator, I don't know what he's on, Morphling, something like this. But Incinerator seems to be a bit weak. So let's go with this. Alright, we are on the play here. This is decent. Like, you need to answer the Lackey immediately. So, if I would have double red here, I would consider going with the Fanatic first. And then next turn, Goblin Lackey with a Hydroblast backup. Okay. Let's go here. So Wastelands could be fine in this matchup. And if this resolves, I think we are pretty fast. Like 11 damage next turn into lethal the turn after. But to be honest, this build is giving me a bit of a headache because you don't have any answers for even the first Engineered Plague. I saw other lists which runs 4 Goblin Lackeys, for what it's called, 4 Goblin Kings. Let's attack here first. If he has a removal, he will go for it, and he can even do it with the triggers on the stack. Yeah, probably something like Smother. So if you have a removal in the spot, you need to do it now. Okay, going on a Piledriver. I'm not sure if he's ready for what's coming. Especially if he knows so bring this down. Let's take a look here. Looks decent. Still in the damage phase. Let's destroy this. And I think we just slam another Lackey here. Yeah, it's such a difference about being on the play or on the draw, especially with a mono red list. Like, keep in mind we could not answer any Oath of Druids. So I will set a stop in my upkeep here. Okay, this is decent. So he's forced to block here. Again, Wasteland doing a great job. As we have no hasty goblins, we attack first. Okay, I will put anything in here. So now it's important for sure to go here. Yeah. Enough seen. Still tough. I think I will cut back on the Ruby Medallion in favor of some lightning bolts and hope he's taking just enough damage. Like even the Incinerator is a 2-1 at some point, which can attack with haste if we have a Goblin Warchief. But this list feels just really all in. This is not great. For sure mulligan, like just imagine he's doing his basic stuff. And then just slamming punishes D turn 3 and we have nothing there. We are not favored here. Especially not on the draw. If you have 3 Sharden ports in your deck, Goblin has a pretty amazing late game. Like you can port so well and you can even port in his turn a blue mana source. And then the following turn in your upkeep. So you are pretty safe by any counterspell. Wall. And wall is a nightmare for me. Okay, let's just slam this. If he has something. Yeah, it's we are missing a lot of angles without the green splash. Like it's like no surprises. Here it's probably fine as it is saved by a counterspell to slam this. And we're setting up for a really aggressive turn here. I'm not even sure if Wall of Blossoms is enough for playing Pyrokinesis, but pitching 2 cards into 1 card where he even draw 1 card off. But he's missing completely blue mana. So here it opens kind of. I think I would just want to slam here. Especially with the haste. It's safe from a smother. Okay, no hits. It is what it is after sideboarding. Don't be sad. At least you are not drawing 4 dead cards. Like this is the good news with Goblin Ringleader. Even if it's not hitting any goblin or just one. At that point, you can ensure that you are not drawing too many dead cards. So we're just chipping into a turn, which is not too much. So I feel like... Okay, here's a deed. Is it correct to... So if I slam this, he needs... I don't know. I have a good follow-up, I guess. And he needs to spend his whole turn immediately. Tough choice. But chipping into a turn is not enough. I would take the risk. Even with land. Into immediately activating. We could be fine. And if he wipes for 4, We still got the Siege King Commander. Which is a 2/2. Engineered Plague would still have a high impact here. And it's funny that we can't even beat the first Engineered Plague. Like 0 Lord effects in the 75. 0 way to handle this. Okay, for 3. This is odd. Right? He probably has Cabal Therapy, but then he needs to guess. Okay. Let's go for the Reflecting Pool. And follow up with a Warchief here. Attack for 6. Pyroblast. A bit awkward here. So if he has no interaction or just a Pernicious Deed, we can slam this and win. Okay, we can't sacrifice here, sadly, but okay, this is a bit too much Siege Gang. He still is in trouble, right? Okay, 4-0. Alright, everyone, and welcome back. Yeah, we are back after 4 very aggressive rounds. I don't know how short this video will be in total, but it was an easy, or more or less easy 4-0, and it was impressive. But let's be honest, was it impressive due to the fact what Goblin is doing anyways? Or was it impressive due to the fact that it was mono red or has Ruby Medallion? Anyway, I like the idea of testing new things out. So even after 5 years, there will be cards rediscovered, and I love this. But let's be honest, we were pretty lucky in the matchups, and it felt like being a very aggressive combo deck sometimes with very few interaction. So without the Rishadan ports, you're losing the complete grindy part. And on top of this, there are so many cards which are just a nightmare if you face them. Like Oath of Druids, Engineered Plague, Exalted Angel. The list goes on and on. So if you like very aggressive play patterns, I think this deck might be for you. But I think if you want to be more balanced, it's probably better to just stay red and green, even if it feels awkward sometimes to have 3 of Naturalize. Anyway, I loved the idea. I'm back for 2026. Hope you enjoyed it and have a nice evening. See you in the next one.